Okay, welcome back for episode 3, where my voice is becoming more human.
Need anything else? Of course.
Initially,
Please, remember,
loads of housekeeping got done, just selling all the goddamn loot. This guy can't afford all of the loot because everything that wasn't bolted down gets picked up. Like this friggin' rotten fish. And then it's time to clear the way for Sazza. So this is a reasonably straightforward fight. Got a heap of goblins. The missile snaring gloves will seriously mitigate a lot of the damage from that high ground goblin. But you know, crits will happen still, so that's fun. Yeah, there's not like a lot of strategy involved in this fight. Just opened up with an expendable, throwable caustic brine thing because like those things just aren't going to be useful later at all. But there's a little bit of free damage here, and just jump on top of the archers. Though they weirdly decided to disengage without moving away from me and fire from point blank, which was pretty dumb. Because now I can do that. And yeah, this fight is basically going to be spamming the occasional small healing potion, doing a lot of missile snaring, and jumping on top of their archers where possible. We'll probably just deal with the axe guy first though, because they probably deal more damage than the archers when you factor in the missile snaring. Again, I just love seeing that 0 damage pop up. 2 rounds later, that guy's already down, and we can just start using this strength potion to jump crazy far to get to these archers and shut them down. So, not a huge amount to talk about with this fight, honestly. It's pretty straightforward. This section of the game consisted of going for quite a long time without long resting, being out of rage charges therefore for quite a long time, because the benefit of getting like rage charges back is actually outweighed by the detriment of losing this hill giant strength elixir, which at this point I don't believe there's any way to get another one. Because you start this one we started with in our like adventuring supplies in camp.
Very well.
Anyway, mopped those guys up pretty easily. Healed this guy the best way possible, throwing a glass bottle at their face.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I thought I was gonna die down here.
And then we're going to go free Sazza up now that the way's clear and got that guy out of the way.
Ready to go meet my tribe? Happily.
I had to actually manually tell Sazza to jump this because she was being a pain in the dick.
Thought I was never gonna get out of there. Good to be free again, gotta say. Never break a promise, unless there's something in it for me. I'll introduce you to my whole tribe and put in a good word for you. See you at the camp.
Right, and then fast forward a little bit more, we run into Scratch, the best boy, and obviously give him loads of pets and arrange for them to find our camp later. Scratch will be quite useful. And then we surprise this bugbear with our spicy salami. Make of that what you will. I'll eagerly await the slash fic. The fan art. These zombies are zombies? They might as well be zombies. These goblins are very easily one-tappable.
Any advantage I can get.
Especially with surprise advantage.
There's no talking your way out of this.
That one has a little bit more hit points, so we do end up in a combat here, but They finished with 6 hit points, which looks like a prime yeeting. So, and yeah, we deal 7 with that full damage. So, and then 9 hit points, yeah, is a comfortably one-tappable amount. There are these 2 goons on the opposite roof, so we just back off a bit and basically force them to run the gauntlet and come to us. I did consider blowing up that fire wine barrel, but it seemed unnecessary in the end, and I'm collecting those where possible for future shenanigans. Because there are some fights where you just gotta do some total nonsense with loads of barrels. Not many of them, mind, and you couldn't do it with many of them anyway, because there aren't that many barrels in the game, really. But sometimes you just gotta nuke the site from orbit. And there's a fight in Act 2 where I'm definitely planning to do that. This archer already cunningly took an opportunity attack off me for absolutely no reason. So we can redip and finish them off very safely with that extra 1d4 fire damage, though I don't think it was even necessary on that roll. And now we're just going to run down and get in the caster's face to give them disadvantage and set up possible opportunity attack if they try and move away. Turns out they just what they end up doing is casting just a bunch of rare sickness and missing handily. Then I miss, but amazingly they actually crit fail twice. This is the second crit fail there, so they cast rare sickness only 3 times and miss every time, which is pretty nice. There's a next group here, and I decide, you know what, I haven't played with gravity yet. Salami and gravity, strange bedfellows.
There goes nothing.
And being very high up, we actually managed to pick up a really easy stealth kill. Stealth Salami, gravity kill. Meaty justice from on high. And then I decide, okay, we'll go down and try and fuck with this goblin. And my character decides to take the pathing, find the shortest route, very literally, and just face plants, and cost me a bunch of hit points, which is interesting, and not the only time that will happen in this area as well. I managed to do it again later. Pick up another easy stealth kill. I mean, it's not even a stealth kill at that point. They're just like neutral until yeah, off camera I think here they sort of got wise to the fact that I was murdering them all and confronted me, but there's only one left at this point, so don't really care. Yeet some more salami at them. Weirdly though, that time, like, it doesn't do hardly any damage. It seems to like not... There seems to be like, I can't tell if it's a bug, but sometimes they'll take like 3 damage and an extra 14 from the gravity. Like there's 2 and 7. I'm not sure what's going on. Sometimes it seems to do a lot of damage, and sometimes it seems to do almost no damage. I don't really understand the rules for it. Because I think when I yeeted the salami at this guy, the first thing I threw at him, I think it dealt like 3 damage. And the other guy dealt like 14. I really don't get it. From exactly the same spot. Maybe this guy was slightly higher and it has like an exponential difference. I don't know. Anyway, that was like a pretty easy set of mini fights in the Blighted Village, and now we come to the this is like the entrance to the lab under the like alchemy shop place. I had this nifty idea where I was like, I'll stack up all of the coffins that I know these skeletons are hiding in and put them on this grease pile, and then just like attack with my lit salami, right, and make like basically a funeral pyre of skeletons and coffins. just do that. It turns out this is an idea that is a lot better in your head And what you actually end up happening is being surrounded by burning skeletons who are very angry with you and very numerous and haven't actually taken anywhere near enough damage. So this in fact leads to a swift death, it turns out. So as fun as this plan was, yeah, that got vetoed. So I disassembled my like Guy Fawkes-esque, you know, pile of coffins, and decided to try and deal with these guys one at a time. This turned out to be surprisingly difficult to do because of just, you know, coffin physics, which is not a phrase I ever thought I'd use. Yeah, trying to get these like a little bit further away so that the first one that comes out is sufficiently slowed by the grease that they can't reach them, because they like to like get out of the coffin, you're surprised, then they start opening other ones and it just sort of cascades out of control. So yeah, decided to deal with these guys one at a time. Turns out I avoid the surprise by hitting the coffin instead of opening it, which is useful. And then we can just yeet this guy into the chasm. These guys don't have any loot that I care about whatsoever. I just care about getting XP, basically. Move this one while it's still burny over there. And then I was kind of hoping it would burn, and maybe I could throw another one on there. I was getting greedy. Immediately, like, reverting to the plan that I knew didn't work, weirdly. I don't know why I was trying to move that other one. At this point, I'm a bit worried, but it turns out by doing whatever it is the fuck I've done, I have completely broken the scripting for this section. And this guy just spends like 15 seconds trying in vain to open this casket, playing the animation and everything, but it's just not working. Maybe because there's another one on top of it, I don't really know. But I broke the game real good, which is half the point of any strategy, really, during this run, because if you can break the game, you got to break the game, because you will lose a fair fight in most situations, certainly early on in the game. I also got wise to the fact that I could technically initiate a push before the combat began. I don't know why this was an opportunity attack, it was just a little bit of pathing nonsense. Almost killed me. But yeah, I got wise to the fact that you can maybe push them while they're still getting up before that combat begins, which is like a nice kind of way of dealing with this. The problem is, of course, that the game is extremely fussy about what it considers a valid place to try to push somebody. So most of the time when I try this, you'll see that the trajectory line is red and it wouldn't result in anything, and then I have to like try to move to get a better line for it to like land in the chasm neatly, like that. Then of course failed the athletics check anyway. But it makes it quite difficult to do before combat begins. Luckily, again, the missile snow engulfs are amazing. And this time, yeah, if it glitches out again, and there's nothing on top of that casket, so I think I've just, by moving everything around, busted the scripting for this encounter real good. And this just kind of hangs for like a good 10 seconds or something, and then yeah, I can just step over here and yeet them into the chasm. Jobs are good, and it's pretty weird. I don't know why I didn't take a health potion at that point, because looking at my health is pretty bad. Okay, there we go, I do. I was like, come on, this is playing with fire at this point. Speaking of which, re-dip and then try for the push. Hey, so yeah, that time we get the push off before combat actually even finishes initiating. And just completely abusing the way this was supposed to be played, really. I mean, you could abuse it even worse. You could, like, you know, put like fire barrels and all sorts if you wanted. Again, managed to get a push off before the combat finishes initiating, which is good. Before the animation finishes playing for the skeleton to get out of the casket. Yeah, you could set up like some nonsense with barrels and stuff, but I felt like actually it would be a waste of barrels. Like, you don't even need it really for this fight. Having discovered that I can break it this badly, I don't think I managed to get the push off here because, yeah, just red lines. But pretty easy to move around and pass that athletics check with this potion buffing us. Awful racket being made by the bits of casket going physics crazy. And then importantly, get and read this dark journal, because that'll allow us to go through the mirror and get into the lab proper, which is just after this.
Tastes like chicken. No chicken. Tastes like fish. Gentlemen, contain yourselves. This quarrel sours our feast. Besides, tastes like pork. And what surprise is this? Brothers, look here. I have eyed yet another prize. Fortune favors our bellies. Stranger, be you friend or food. The mark is her measure. Show us the brand of the absolute.
Now, I've included this dialogue for two reasons. One, because getting these ogres on side is great and useful for later. And two, because it's just fucking great. I just love this dialogue, so I just put it in.
Food? No one has food today, alas. It seems we are friends. Friend. Am I not astonishing? A robust diet makes for a shrewd mind, you see. I am a gourmand. And you, a delicacy. Unless you bear the mark, of course. I've no use for the absolute, or any god. I follow two masters only, gluttony and greed. The goblins understand my appetites. They sate my hunger for gold. And the rest sate my hunger for meat. Boss Goblin give gold. We check brand. Good deal. No talk. I am, by all accounts, a student of higher commerce and extortion. Make me an offer. Tempt me.
So obviously, we want to get Lump on side. You know, doing it for free would be even better, which so happens to be nicely in line with our skill set as a barbarian with expertise in intimidation. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And unfortunately, missed the first roll. We have one inspiration, so I'm like, well, fuck. If I'm burning it for anything, I'm burning it for this. And there's the nat 20. So there you go.
Now, famished though we are friends, are we not? Take my bone horn. One blow, and the ground will quake with my family name. Use it when the need arises, and never a moment before. Ogre kill everyone around, then Ogre eats them. Well spoken, indeed. Ogre kill everyone around.
Just the best dialogue. One of the best dialogues in the early game. Possibly the game, full stop. Just like tidying up. Hoovering up any XP I can get my grubby little mitts on. So there's a couple goblins outside the south entrance to the Blighted Village. And there's a prime spot to yeet Salami from. So obviously, that's what we're going to do. So this will be another interesting test of this. Maybe I just don't understand the mechanics for this. Hitting the first guy, okay, admittedly that's a crit, but what, 22 damage and 8 damage? I don't know if the 8 damage is like being dealt to the Salami itself, I guess. I'm not exactly sure.
I think.
Another crit, see. Okay, so that was another crit, and that dealt 6 damage. And he's only ever so slightly higher than the first guy was. So, like, I don't... does that really account for that difference in damage? Like, I guess there's a dice roll there. So maybe that's the difference? I don't know. I haven't actually checked the combat log now that I think about it to see if you can see the dice roll for that damage. I'm sure someone will explain it to me. And there I go for the second time, just taking a shitload of full damage for no reason. But throwing Salami is not really a strategy I relied on very heavily in this run. It was just something I goofed around with in like 1 or 2 fights at the beginning. Right, and now I almost accidentally eat an opportunity attack from this warg that just showed up. And then remember to actually path around that. And we just got to kill this guy before that warg comes and eats our face. Because that will desummon it, given that they are the one that summoned it to begin with. So that's nice and easy.
Thank goodness you're here, sweetie. I don't know what's come over these boys. Bollocks. Some advice. You ever darken my door, you'd best have that head bowed and an apology at the ready.
So yeah, proceeding south, bump into the hag and side with, well, against her.
The sheep's voice warbles. You realize it's trying to say bar.
And then we will reveal the illusion.
The smell of rot assaults your senses as the illusion vanishes.
A lot of nat 20s I've realised in this episode.
A diminutive creature sporting a red hat glares at you. He seems unaware that his illusion has failed.
Now, what follows is one of the most deranged things I've ever done in this game. I actually went back after that, having looked at the red caps and looked at what it would take to beat them. And I gathered up an absurd amount of crates. Admittedly, I could have gone more extreme with this. There were plenty of crates for me to do so if I really wanted to, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. But it's pretty extreme still. Made a big old box tower with the idea that I would abuse Baldur's Gate 3's gravity and lob Salami and other random objects at these guys from on high, because they don't really have much in the way of ranged attack capability. They've got like a skill that's like a magic ranged spell thing that makes you bleed, but they don't seem to use it from particularly far away. I think it's quite short range. BG3 doesn't like rendering the middle of my box tower because I think it collides with some like part of some, I don't, God knows honestly, some like something to do with occlusion and the camera and the tree canopy or something. I have no idea, but it doesn't like rendering the middle of my box tower, and you can't even click on it, which actually makes it quite difficult to use. Anyway, I cunningly initiated combat by throwing something at this guy. I think it was a torch or something. I don't even know anymore. But it matters not, because I think I did no damage. These guys get quite confused. They sort of buff each other and then kind of don't really know whether they're coming or going. Yeah, throwing another torch here no particular reason. I think torches are just like a bit heavy and can do damage. Yeah, so there's like 16 damage there, which is pretty effective. I can't decide if that was 16 damage dealt to the red cap. I think it was. And then I was like, oh yeah, I should be throwing Salami, so I start throwing Salami. That like rule about what you have to throw first, and it's like throwing Salami, it just kind of went out the window. I was just like, fuck it, just throw things like a crazy chuckle brother down at these guys, whatever you've got, you know, rocks, torches, food, anything, just anything that weighs something. Turns out I don't have that many objects which weigh very much, so this was actually quite challenging. I ran out of things to throw sooner than I'd hoped. So I actually decided to start throwing bits of my own tower down at these guys, which was obscene. I'm hiding at the end of each turn here, so that because it seems that confuses their AI packages, like they don't come to investigate my last known position because they can't figure out how to climb the tower, at least not all the way to the top, I guess. So yeah, thanks to cunning action, once again, I can basically just sort of pick up a bit of my... So I managed to interrupt myself climbing further down and then pick this up, and now you can see I can't even like see what I'm stood on. It's a bit crazy. But this is the kind of desperate nonsense that you end up doing when you're solo tactician and you're only allowed to slap people with Salami. So I'm just throwing bits of my own tower at these guys over and over again and hiding.
I don't need any attention right now.
And this guy's been left on 1 hit point, which is just obnoxious. So again, we're going to try and climb down and then quickly interrupt it by picking up the thing at the top. There's a sort of desperate workaround because I can't actually properly interact with things. See, that did 5 damage and 6 damage and 12 damage. I have no idea where those different damages went against what. It's just confusing. I should probably have like checked out what the combat log says about that stuff. But it just sort of, it's never really mattered before. So we're going to dash, climb down. And this is the point at which I decided, you know what? I've killed one of these jokers. It's we can peace out now. So we've just got enough distance there to flee combat. We can flee. We can jump straight back. And these red caps, yeah, they're only temporarily hostile. So you can just walk back in, pick up the random detritus that you've thrown at them from the heavens. From the tree canopy, like a really shit version of the Predator. You know, grab whatever loot, and then just go back and just start the process again. So yeah, extremely abusable. So we climb back up our now slightly shorter tower and kick this process off once again. Figure I've yeeted torches so far, why not do that again? Only 4 damage again, so like doesn't make much sense. I'm going to speed this up because, like, you know, the process is, I think, fairly obvious at this point. Get on tall thing, yeet stuff in a semi-random fashion. Yeah, so again, they're just going to sort of buff up and get a bit confused. We throw all the salami we can, doing, again, somewhat underwhelming damage. Don't seem to be getting like the bonus height damage that I was expecting. I threw a shovel at this guy. That's how like desperate I was. I was just like, I don't have a lot left to throw that weighs enough. You can see me scanning around here like, well, fuck, I've got like the heavy stones, disappointingly unheavy. I'll just say that. That was an experiment I did at one point in a previous failed attempt at this fight, I think. Again, hiding at the end of the turn, throwing more bits of my tower because I've run out of steam at this point. I'll be honest, guys. I'd run out of shit to throw. I'd stood on top of a load of boxes. I ran out of ideas. Screw it. Just start throwing boxes for all the free damage I can get before I actually have to tango with these guys, because they are very mean in melee.
All right then.
They can make you bleed, and they can like knock you prone, and they can hit pretty dang hard. For level 4, yeah, they're actually quite nasty. I'm not quite sure what I was trying to accomplish here. I was trying to put this box back down. Did I have like some idea about throwing something? I'm not sure what I was doing here, honestly. I think I was like, oh wait, I don't need to completely destroy this tower yet. I've got like scrolls, so it's like, okay, you can have a scroll of firebolt, which is 7 damage. It's not bad. But yeah, then he's like all up in my business. So at this point, I was like, okay, we'll just poison our Salami, which I think might be a series first. In fact, I think this might be the first time I've poisoned my meat. And yeah, simple toxin. It's nothing to write home about. I think it's an extra 1d4 poison damage. Fortunately, save that, though I suppose it doesn't particularly matter as long as the second one isn't there. If I get knocked prone and the second one is there, then I really would be in a lot of trouble. This guy's sufficiently low now. I'm not too worried about him. Decide I can yeet him away and then start putting in distance while he takes poison damage over time.
To keep going.
Hoping this 1d4 would kill him at the end of his turn. It does not. He takes 2 damage, leaving him on 1 health. Again, quite annoying. This guy tries to cast Whole Person, which would have been super bad. Really super, definitely very bad. I don't know why I rushed this guy. I should have let him come to me and waste his turn. Oh, I think it was because he's casting. Yeah, it's because he's a caster. Right, that's why. Yeah, because he's a Blood Sage. So, yeah, he was trying to cast Whole Person and casting this, like, bleeding spell on me and stuff. And that's just no bueno. So, gotta get into melee contact so that they take disadvantage and on their casting. Still very nearly kills me, honestly. Like, very nasty at level 4. Really, really nasty. Finally actually save on that open wounds. And then we finish them off. I'll tell you something for free. That took more than 1 attempt. But even with the tower shenanigans, those guys are annoying. Here I cunningly poisoned myself, but, you know, this isn't an actual proper fight, so it doesn't really matter anyway. So, no big deal. But that's going to do it for this episode, so...
Bye-bye, lovelies.
Bye-bye, lovelies, as Auntie Ethel would say.